Welcome to a Traveler video here. It's not the campaign this time, although it'll be something I'll use in the campaign. This is a virtual unboxing, so to speak, of a resource for Traveler that came out a few decades back, and up to now it's been hard to find for me. I've been able to find a lot of information, Far Futures Enterprises, different versions of Traveler, all their docs, etc., bundles, solo rules, but looking around I always saw this referred to out there, the Starship Operators Manual by Digest Group Publications. And actually a few days ago, a week ago, it did pop up on my wish list from Noble Knight Games, but the price was a bit too steep and I wanted an electronic version. So every once in a while I do a Google search, and actually, lo and behold, a few days it did pop up on a site called Scribd. You may have heard of scribd.com, I think. And you can do a monthly subscription, etc., but people upload stuff from all over the world. And it appeared somebody from Russia finally uploaded this resource, which was pretty awesome because now I actually have it. So I thought in this video I'd do a quick overview of it. There's a lot of reading here, which I need to do, but just to get a summary of this document, here's on the back of the book. Whether you're stationed on a merchant ship, Navy cruiser, or Corsair, cool, any ship. Whether you're a captain, engineer, pilot, broker, or just somebody who swabs the deck, so any crew position for your characters. Whether you want to travel from world to world, operate or start up a maneuver drive, scoop fuel from a gas giant. This operator's manual goes into detail how to do it. And yeah, it was initially made for MegaTraveller, and it's kind of broken up. The contents included. It gives you the background on all sorts of different systems: jump drive, maneuver drive, power plants, sensors, flight controls, computers, weapons, hulls. Gives you background, more detailed information on them. And then actually procedures, and we'll see that at the end, and charts and tables and checklists, incorporate that. But it can also talk about crew duties. They have this to add color. They have these inserts by, it's called the old timer, somebody you meet in a bar or something, and gives you his point of view on all these different systems, etc. So again, this will add to the detail. Now we can get in more detail with the Starship operations here. So let's do a quick through it here. It also does focus on specifically the here a Beowulf Type A free trader. He uses this as an example ship. Gives a lot of detailed information. I think the intent was this is only volume 1. That maybe they were going to do detailed volumes for multiple ship types, but for whatever reason that didn't go through. But you do see here it's taking our Beowulf and giving you all, here's kind of the schematic outside here. But then we come down here and they do, there are 3 sections, like I said, the background on different starship systems, and then details on a specific ship, hence I think they'd want more than 1 volume later, but it didn't happen. And then what I'm really after is these game rules for starship operations. So, and then here's the old timer they talk about. Somebody you meet willing to tell you, but doesn't want to identify himself, maintain his privacy. View it as color commentary. So first they start out with the systems, giving the background. Here's your maneuver drive, explaining, how it works, thruster plates, thrust directions, good stuff, all worth reading. Talks about attitude control, gyroscopes, thrusters, and then the old timer gives us a little background on how to use it. And they give you a nice diagram here too. You'll see that with all of the systems, so you can better understand. Here's our attitude control. Potentially the gyroscope will maintain our attitude, but you also have thrusters to support, and as usual a computer to control this. Then they talk about flight controls, and they talk about it as you move through the tech levels. Normal space flight controls, jump space, flight controls, the old-timer's view on that. And then they start telling you navigator and pilot are responsible for the correct operation of the flight controls. So you're getting more detailed procedure, normal space flight controls, nav computer, it looks like. And there's jump space. Okay, again, we're just talking about the flight controls and some related topics. The engineer is part of this, okay? So we see this is probably a task chain they're going to show us at the end with the navigator, pilot, and the engineer all involved, and when jumps go south. And again, detailed diagrams on the different systems. And here's the jump drive, power supply. Then we talk about the jump drive and the theory behind it. The jump bubble, 6 jump space levels, etc. 7 days, I think. Yeah, and they talk about the power plant now to support that. They talk about the obvious 10 to 100 diameter. And this is nice. You'll see this later in the charts. This is actually the steps. Vector computation, spinning up the jump drive. Then, wow, weave open, crossover. I guess the weave is the bubble you enter. Crossover, tumble, weave close, travel. Well, maybe not. We'll see. And then travel 1 week, always the same, in emergence and normal space. And there'll be charts around all of these. Let's see. And this is something I didn't know you can do, and I need to look at it. You can do micro jumps within a system. I hadn't seen that mentioned anywhere else. But again, if it takes, this is 7 days, I guess, less than a parsec. I think the time is always the same. So if using the maneuver drive is more than 7 days to get to a point in the system, micro jumps could be a way too. Or to, quickly get out of a system, as long as you're 100 diameters away from the star and or planets off the plane of whatever, the elliptic. Then they talk about power plant fuel, different types. Here we see fuel scoops. Talk about that. They talk about refined fuel, unrefined fuel, and a nice little diagram for that. And then they set us up for sensors, which is great for the ship in general. How to detect things, densometer, massive objects, pretty much how you get a feel for what's in a system. Neutrino sensor, power plants, high energy sources. Here's our EMS, electromagnetic energy, collection of things. Could be optical, could be radar, LiDAR, whatever. And of course this concept of passive and active. Passive, you're just listening. Active, I don't know what the analogy they use. I always fall back on sonar. But it's a combination of these. And then they do talk about the transponder, communications. Diagrams are early, but then they go into detail. We saw a little of this in the World Builder too, these sensors here. These are specifically ships sensors, not necessarily so much specialized sensors that scout teams would have in addition to their ship sensors here. So they give the background here. Talk about the computer and security. That'll be an interesting read, because in some timelines it's a virus that takes out the Empire, I think, later in its history. And then, yeah, beyond tech level 3, apparently your computers become really intelligent, synaptic Starship computers. Of course, remember this manual was written, I think, in the 80s, so probably want to tweak it for current understanding here. And then they talk about the main computer. Oh, look at that, removable, online storage, console, computer links. Yeah, don't see Wi-Fi. Okay. And then the hull and the environment they talk about. Again, this can inform your players or your game masters, or in my case, whatever I'm doing here. There are inertial compensators, artificial gravity. So again, we're getting the background on all this. And then they include a detailed graphic. I think I'm going to pull these pages out and put them together in GIMP, and so I can get the diagram itself if I don't find it available somewhere else. Looks like it's got 3 pages, so cut that out. Gives you a detailed, you can see it's 3 decks. At least we're focusing on the Beowulf class here, 3 decks, and you get the details of what's on each of them. Oh, and this is nice. Then they start giving you actual pictures. Here's what the bridge looks like. And here's the different places. Here's what the cargo hold looks like. Corridor airlock. Example crew stateroom. Interesting. Got 2 people in this one. And then the weapons station. I believe this class ship has 2 triple turrets, both above and below, and low berths. Just bunks. Minimum belongings. Actually, this is what we lived in on a submarine. And the jump drive console. And then there is a deck for passengers if that's what you're doing. So they have a lounge and a stateroom. Not bad. And then they talk about different hull. Let's see. Then they talk about cargo and passengers. Details around that. Costly, bulky, cargo, costs. You know, if I was doing a campaign where I was literally on a free trader, this would be a gold mine around my ship here, which I've got here is the 2022 rules. I kind of wish they had made another one on the scout ship and some naval vessels, but Mongoose has done some stuff if I get into a Navy campaign. Stowaways, okay, decor. And cargo and passengers, cargo hold, this is how you're maintaining it, and then each stateroom, entertainment terminal, and then environmental controls, and then weapons and screens. And this isn't just written for this Beowulf class ship from what I've seen. It does get into weapons in general. Tech level 15, the Black Globe. Tech level 12, lasers, missiles, etc. They talk about that here. Meson, yeah, see they're talking about meson screens, nuclear dampers, armor, black globes, let's see, gunnery station, etc. So they give you some background detail on that and a generic diagram. Crew duties, great if you're running a campaign on a vessel, kind of like I am with the Scout. It does talk about, bigger than my crew. Let's say if I hopefully get those Corvette squadrons showing up here for the Navy. You got the command crew. In this case, it doesn't sound military owner, ship's admin, but operational bridge crew, pilot, navigator, sensor operator, comms. You got your engineer, computer operator, electrician, and I think a lot of these, they do mention the crew. Yeah, pilot, astrogator, engineer, medic, steward. So gives you some more background on those different and here they've got a separate section for military crew. Good job. Ship's troops. Well, normally that's a Marines here. Size chart. Oh, I do have broadsword class ton mercenary cruiser, so they go from that to the smaller ones. And then of course here's the rules for operations. And there are a number of charts at the end, but they do spend some time talking about key tasks. Cycling an airlock and the skill checks there. Sliding doors, iris valves, hatches, anti-hijack trank gas. Cool. And then here it is, the charts that you can use for doing actual shipboard operations. Here we're starting with travel time between 2 points in normal space, and they give you an example. Task duration. This is how long to repair a drive, etc. That's an example. So you estimate the duration of the repair task and difficult engineering. So this could be all the generic kind of tasks you have to do on a ship. Performance-based tasks. Fire success. Cross-system checks. Task marked as difficult, you can do a cross-check. Cautious attempt, so maybe you mitigate that. Okay, so we see travel time. Here we got some more normal space. Distance to world orbit. That's nice. The world size, standard orbit, high orbit in kilometers. Good to know. Okay. So that's pretty detailed there. Here's navigator. Navigator determines the basic course. Select the type of trip. World surface to orbit. Good. World orbit to jump. Or world orbit to another world in the system. So they give you all this stuff to calculate that. Oh, effects of atmosphere. Oh, and here's where you figure out the 100 diameter based on the world size. I think you normally base it on the... I'll have to look at that. I thought you based it on the star. But I'll take a look at that. So they give you that detail. Here's even more normal space. World orbit to world orbit, like we talked about. Orbital positions. Even between orbits. That's getting detailed. More normal space. Travel time. Best maneuver drive. Etc. Okay. Then we go into jump space. Summary of the procedure. Nice. So you just work your way right through. First one, navigator determines desired jump vector. And there we go. It gives you charts for that. And how long. Then engineer charges up the energy sinks. Uses this task to monitor in the situation energy skill. Yeah, and they give you an example how to roll that. And then 3, navigator engages jump drive. And inside this task becomes difficult. Ooh, nice. Inside 10's formidable. Push the button. Monitor the jump. Could be mishaps. Routine engineer navigators EDU. Okay. I think the compendium gave some other ones, so I'll compare those two to this. All hands prepare for jump. Hours in jump space, kind of variable off 7 days. And then jump exit. Roll 2D, and if you get a 10 or less, it's okay, it looks like. But then if you start getting 11 or above, and I guess there's modifiers, potentially different types of exits. And navigator determines system location. Then they give just general other tasks and systems, like if you want random task, something goes wrong, whatever, you could roll on this, pick one. They talk about jump mishaps, annual maintenance and its effect if you don't do it. And then the different wilderness refueling. Okay, here we see gas giant rings, oceans on the planet, icy planets, asteroid belts, comets, etc. And the basic repair task guide. Basic repair skills needed to repair a J drive. Oh, that's nice. So for each of the different systems, they tell you the skills that can potentially assist in doing the repairs here. So that's pretty cool. And then they have an index. Looks reasonably extensive. So yeah, this looks good. I look forward to putting this through its paces. Maybe shortly with our campaign or later with other ships. Just to run through it. Oh, and they got some more nice pictures here of selected type A profiles of our Beowulf. Yeah. Some more pictures. So I guess their goal was to make one of these for most, the most common ships. Unfortunately, they only got one here. So, let's see where we're at. We're almost at 20 minutes. Not good enough. So again, the hint I'll give you is I found it on Scribd, SCRIBD.com. Let me pull that up. Yep, this is where I found it, scribd.com. Whether it's up there or not, I don't know. Just take a look at the website. Maybe you'll see it and some other stuff. And it does It is subscription based, levers of subscription, but that's one of my sources for this kind of stuff. So excited about this. Hope to incorporate this now in the process going forward. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording. If you liked, click like, comments appreciated. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you know the next video will come up. Thanks for listening.